Buonasera, I have made a few Parmigiana with aubergines, different types in my channel, and today I fancy doing something different. I will be making a Parmigiana, but instead of using aubergines I will be using courgettes or zucchine as they're called in Italian. I've got 3 courgettes here and I'm removing the head and the bum from all of them, and I'll be slicing them, if I can get hold of this one properly, in approximately anything between a half a centimetre and 1 centimetre each. And I'm using a bread knife because they are the best for this job. But don't get complacent, they are very dangerous. I'm going to be adding a pinch of salt and some pepper to a couple of eggs. And using a fork I'll give them a quick mix. Literally no more than 20 seconds is enough. For this recipe I will be using some plain flour, eggs of course, and also some breadcrumbs. I will give you the quantities in the descriptions as always. Next job is to get the courgettes ready, so start with the flour, and I'm going to be using my left hand for that. Then I'll put it in the egg mix, and I'll just make sure that there is enough egg in both sides of the aubergine, like this, like this. Then I'll move to the right where my breadcrumbs are, and I'll be using my right hand to finish the job so that I do not end up making a mess and I do not end up with big fingers covered in breadcrumbs and flour. And make sure that you give it a good shake, and if you look, the courgette, zucchini, whatever you want to call it, is covered beautifully with everything that is in front of me. And they're done, and there they are, they're looking good. And you will make a little mess, but that's normal. That's what happens when you cook. Reference quantities, most probably I could have done with a little less flour because I go now some waste, but egg and breadcrumbs, just the right quantity. Also, one further thing, if you want to peel the courgette, by all means go ahead, and you will find that they will stick better, the breadcrumbs and the flour, but that'd be a little bit of a shame because actually the skin has got a lot of goodness and they will cook just as well. Entirely up to you, of course. After a quick tidy up, I'm ready to continue, and I'll start by putting some vegetable oil in a pan. And I can see that there are lots of little bubbles at the bottom, so I think I'm ready. And cover as much of the area as you can with zucchini or courgettes. And I'll turn the temperature on to a medium to high. Courgettes have got quite a high water content, but equally well there's breadcrumbs in there and I don't want to burn it, so keep an eye on them. Within a couple of minutes they are beginning to cook already, and they've got a nice golden color already, and I'm turning them around, so another couple of minutes and they will be ready to come out. 2 more minutes and they're done. Look, they are perfect. I will place them on top of some kitchen paper so that some of the oil will be absorbed. And off I go again. And the second batch is also finished and they're done. I've put some more kitchen paper so that I'll try and absorb as much oil as possible. They are good enough to eat as they are. Maybe cook them a little bit longer as a side dish. They are absolutely delicious. I will leave them on one side so that I'll try and absorb as much oil as possible while I get on with the sauce. Tin of plum tomatoes in a jug. Rinse it with a little water so that we don't waste anything. This step is not necessary if you're using already chopped tomatoes, but mine are whole, so I will be blending them quickly. But I will only give them a very quick mix, as I don't like it too liquidy and I want to find some pieces of tomatoes as well. With the aim of not messing too many things in the kitchen, I'll give the same pan where I fried the courgette a quick wipe with some kitchen paper. A little olive oil, clove of garlic, gentle crush, and put it inside. Back on the hob, as soon as the garlic starts sizzling, add the sauce. Pinch of salt and some pepper as well, followed by a very generous handful of fresh basil leaves. Parmigiana and basils, they go very well together. I'll put the lid on and I'll turn the temperature down and I'll leave it to simmer for a good 10 minutes now. The sauce is done and I will transfer it back into my original jug, including the garlic. I will leave the garlic, but if you want to remove it, by all means, go ahead. I'll make sure that I'll leave a little sauce at the bottom like this to give myself a little base. And I will start putting together my zucchini parmigiana with my first layer of zucchini. That's ideal, perfect. And I will now put a little of my tomato sauce on top and spread it evenly as much as I can. It does not have to be perfect. It is a parmigiana after all. And I'm now slicing some mozzarella cheese. I have decided that for this recipe, instead of using fresh mozzarella, I'll use the mozzarella that you use for pizza. I get the feeling that it's going to be really, really nice and cheesy, so definitely worthwhile trying. Looks yummy already. I'm now sprinkling some Parmesan cheese on top. Of course, if this is a Parmigiana, it's got to have Parmigiano. Followed by some more fresh basil. And before I put my final layer of courgette, I'm adding now some ham pieces. This is actually cheap ham trims, I think called, from the supermarket. Clearly, if you're vegetarian, you don't have to put any ham in, just as delicious. But you might not be aware of it, but the traditional aubergine parmigiana can be made with or without ham. Today we are making a zucchini or courgette parmigiana with ham. Followed by my last layer of courgette, I'm going to be pressing them down so that everything is nice and compact. And now adding the remainder of my sauce, followed by one more layer of Parmesan. And of course a few more mozzarella pieces on the very top. And I'm now back on the hob for the final part, and it's beginning to boil. At this point I will put the lid on. I'll turn it down onto a simmering position. In my case it's number 3 out of 9 in my electric hob, but if you've got gas, turn it down on the minimum, and I'll leave it to simmer with the lid on for approximately 15 minutes, and then it should be ready. And the zucchini parmigiana is finished. Here it is. I've added a few leaves of basil to garnish it. Also, we will be eating ours with some bread. We love mopping up the sauce. And I'll taste some before I go, as Julie's waiting. I want to actually try some with a piece of ham as well, and some of that mozzarella, and of course a piece of zucchini there. Still a bit warm, but not piping hot. To leave it for 10 minutes before you eat it, once you finished cooking, is the best advice I can give you, beside sharing the recipe of course, because I think applies that with a lot of food actually. If you eat it too hot, your taste buds go mad. Or actually, if you leave it to cool down a little, it tastes considerably better. Let me know in the comments what is your preference, but absolutely delicious. Definitely, if you have not made it before, you've made it with aubergines maybe, it's an excellent variation, worthwhile trying. Ciao ciao, look forward to hearing how you get on. Have a good evening, bye.